Good, we have a power panel. I love that one. Energy is in the house. Amy, please come on stage. Sebastian from DT, Colm from BT, Wendhy from Telin, and Ahmed from EN. Please come on stage. Big round of applause. Give it up, guys.
All right, come on up, gentlemen. I think we forgot a nationality. I think we have somebody from EN, so, from the UAE. Or I don't know if you're from the UAE, but somewhere in the region. There we go. Okay. Well, yeah, please come on down, everybody. I will say, I've got a little bit of a tough act to follow. I don't know how you guys, I felt that was a very riveting panel. Maybe as a telco, a little bit scary. In terms of moderator, Kyle, I'll do my best to fill your shoes in this panel. So what we'll do is get you guys to do a quick introduction. The topic that we're doing today, the telco of the future. The way that I'm thinking about it is we've heard a lot of things today about some exciting new technologies, some exciting new business opportunities, services, use cases, generative AI, fraud, network APIs, vCon. We've heard a lot today. And what I'd really like us to discuss on the panel is to have a little bit of a think about, okay, the telco of the future, when you're thinking about what might change or what might not change. You can think about, what are you selling? How are you selling it? Who are you selling it to? How you deliver it. There may be other ways that you guys see it. And so I'll be curious to dig in with you guys, what of those things you see changing? What of those you see not changing? And then, maybe we have a little assessment at the end about how well we're going to do at capturing some of the opportunities that the previous panel was talking about. So let's start with some introductions. Let's go down the line, and then we'll dive into the questions. Just a real quick intro to yourselves and your roles in your companies. So please, Ahmed, first.
Yes. Good afternoon. I'm Ahmed Omer. I'm part of the EN group, which is, I think, the nationality that you missed. So it's United Arab Emirates, Dubai-based. It's okay. I'm part of the group organizations that actually have retransformed into multiple subsidiaries. And one of those subsidiaries is EN Enterprise, which is the B2B arm globally in 36 countries. I'm looking at the customer experience, and I will share my thoughts with my colleague of what exactly the customer experience cover. But CPaaS is one of the anchor product of my portfolio, covering the region in 36 countries, in a nutshell.
Excellent. Colm?
Hello. Hi, everybody. Colm, Sunderland from BT. I'm part of BT International team, pretty newly founded in the last 12 months as part of BT Group. We've seen a step change in the technology evolution of what's happening in the market, and my role in that is to look after the hyperscaler, the CPaaS, and the indirect market. And pretty much the slogan is born in the cloud, own the cloud, or connecting the cloud. So we'll get into further discussion later. I'll hand you over to Sebastian.
Thank you. Yeah, Sebastian worked for Deutsche Telekom, T-Wholesale, the wholesale unit, international wholesale unit from the technical side, building up a digital service platform and CPaaS platform in-house.
Hello everyone, my name is Wendhy. I'm from Telkom Indonesia International, or Telin. Basically, Telin is a part of the subsidiary of Telkom Indonesia. We are the sister of Telkomsel, if you know, which have around 200 plus million subscribers. Indonesia is quite unique because our population is 280 million people in 2025, but our mobile number subscriber is 350 million. So, this is quite challenging actually on the mobile side, but we are actually focusing Telin in wholesale business and also focusing on the enterprise business. Thank you very much.
Great, excellent. So thanks for the intros. Let's come back to you, Ahmed, because I know that EN has kind of gone quite a distance in terms of changing your business model and doing the startup internally. You have your own P&L in your business. So maybe tell us a little bit about sort of the structure you've adopted and the pros and cons, a little bit of the lessons learned along the way.
Yeah, I think the story of what we've done in EN are actually very close to the CPaaS Acceleration Alliance. I'm not sure if Kevin, Rob are still around. Yeah, I can see you. So 3 years ago, we met in, actually, I've been here in each and every casa, right? So almost 3 years in a row. I'm too committed. But we met in Florida. We had one of the biggest events in Enterprise Connect Florida, which is related to this domain. And 90% of the presenters were actually contact center providers. And I think at that time we met Kevin and Rob, and I said, you know what, is there any alliance or event for CPaaS or communication platform player? He said, you know what, it's not there. And I had to flew 17 hours all the way from Dubai just to figure out how to collaborate and engage with partners. So 4 years ago, and this is actually among friends and family, because this is the kind of event that we share such experience. I'm not trying to sell or buy anything. But the point here is we made a cautious decision from EAN, formerly known as Etisalat, a telecom operator, to dismantle all of the business lines and make sure that they can play the role of that specific league. So there is a fintech business, there is a cloud business, there is a security entity, and all of these entities are actually separated from their P&L point of view and responsibility back to the board. One of them was EngageX, which is a brand under EAN Enterprise that looks at all customer experience interactions. CPaaS, one of the anchor products that we had. So 3 years ago, I came here to present to the audience that we had CPaaS or communication platform as a service. But today we started to cover the whole consumer interaction journey, all the way from acquisitions that include MarTech, CRM, CPaaS, contact center, and then eventually loyalty. And we cover this with a BBO business, outsourcing business that have 5 to 6 locations around the country. But we made sure today that we cover the whole consumer interaction towards business all in all. So in a nutshell, I think the story is appealing. It works fine, not only from the CPaaS component, but now we are leveraging on this success of CPaaS to build something else across the other portfolio.
And so EAN, other parts of the group, is your anchor customer, and then you have other customers?
So we actually a B2B entity, so we manage our internal stakeholders. So the EAN Live, Kareem, for the people who knows it at that part of the world. The internal brands that we have is being served by us. But of course, the main focus is Saudi, Egypt, Morocco, Turkey, and then the GCC countries.
And so how does this sort of structure change, like give you like more or less leeway in terms of what you can do? How does it help? How has it helped you to be more innovative, quicker to market, or build new markets?
Yeah, it comes with its own pros and cons. So once you spin off this business, you take full accountability.
Yeah.
That means the visibility is very clear to the board, to the chairman, to the CEO, and whenever you fail, you fail.
Yeah.
You can't subsidize into other products that you have within the portfolio of Telco. But in fact, it gives you that agility for you to fail and fail fast and do stuff differently. And when you do it, you learn, and then you come back and you fix it. The bureaucracy that we have, and we are all in telcos, we know it's very difficult. It's a very heavy machine. Any change that you need to do and tweak in that supply chain will really impact you. So we made sure today that we cover everything, non-core. So the sales, the pre-sales, the delivery, implementation, after-sales support, and even some of the support function are all within one portfolio that's been managed by me in this case, where it reports to the CEO.
Yeah. Okay, so we've learned a little bit about sort of how you're operating differently, and that might be the future for some telcos, or it may not. But in terms of the other bits, looking forward, 3 years, 5 years, thinking about the future telco, what do you see of my questions? What you're selling different, who you're selling to different, how you're selling it is different? Like, what are those are changing?
I think the coverage that we have today, especially in the telco side, enterprises, B2B, big customers, high ARPU. We're not seeing the other share of wallets, and I think there is a good chance for us to really expand by aggregating more and more.
Yeah.
We look at our own enterprise. I think we need to collaborate with the whole supply chain.
Yeah.
Again, as Telco today, the more depth that we go in the value chain by inclusion of and inclusive of the other partners, the better for the final consumers. We might give share of our value, as usual. Telco likes to keep the money, to keep the margin, to keep the profitability. But I don't believe this is the right thing to do. You need to share it with the supply chain because you can leverage on the magnitude later on.
Yeah.
So these technologies of applying a marketplace, accessing the SMBs, going even beyond, I call it the Netflix experience, where you go and subscribe to any one of those modules, whether it's network or non-network, will actually give a great opportunity for the telcos to succeed.
Okay, so I'm getting openness vibes from you. So let's move down and hear from some of the others. So I've quizzed you a little bit. I know people are probably curious about your approach. So Colm, from your perspective, what do you see in the future in terms of what's changing? in terms of your business?
Yeah, look, from a BT International perspective, you take a step back. To be a telco of the future, you have to look where you are and where you've come from. And probably last 4 years, we've been on a journey to look at what the business needs, what problems we're trying to solve in the market, and how we address that then with a network for the future capability. So we've gone on a journey, looking at AI, looking at geopolitical, and then looking at digitization and seeing how we can address that in the market with our portfolio and capabilities. So, there's major challenges in the world of AI, attestation of services. We've heard and talked about that earlier. We've heard about security. We've heard about network, and to run all of these applications, you need to build a future state platform. And BT's taken a journey of global fabric. Effectively, what global fabric is it's an any-to-any platform worldwide. It allows to cater for data sovereignty. It's bandwidth on demand capability, so it gives that scalability and flexibility. Then also integration. So we talked about APIs, network orchestration during the conversations today. So the integration of other platforms and other services into that with ease. That's the telco of the future platform we're building. Then we layer on top of that global voice, global contact center, UCaaS or CCaaS. And what underpins that is then the serviceability both to the direct and the indirect. We have 2 channels within the group. We deal with Indirect, which is pretty much the power, your power platform powered by BT. So we resell that capability, and then large scale enterprise, where we work with a lot of the large multinationals around the world to enable them to be able to provide capability to their portfolio or to their resources internally to drive their business forward.
So obviously, you're thinking a little bit about changing how you sell things by making it more on demand, making it more flexible. You're expanding what you're selling by integration with different services. What about sort of what we heard from the previous panel about that sort of like aggressive exposure of network capabilities to customers? Do you see that on the roadmap in the foreseeable future? Is that something that do you buy into that vision that if you really aggressively open the capabilities, people will come and use them, and you'll drive revenues that way?
Absolutely. Look, that's the vision, and that's the plan strategy, is that you want to make it consumable.
Yeah.
The world of today is on demand as fast as possible, and if you as a telco provider don't set yourself up for success in the future, and do it in staged approach, you're not going to succeed long term, and you will continue to fall behind the market. So building a platform that offers that flexibility, scale, and then security, and brings in all the other aspects that are on demand in the market, you need to legislate for that and to accommodate that. We had a brief discussion earlier about bandwidth on demand. What does it really mean? And Amy gave me a great idea around surge pricing on the network. So that's something we could take back. It's like Ticketmaster. Effectively look at your bandwidth, look at orchestration on the network and how people consume services, and then how that can become flexible in different types of organization, whether it's marketing campaigns, whether it's contact center insurance collections. So you provide that flexibility at a core network layer to be able to scale up and down and peaks and troughs.
I think if it really is on demand, people can scale up and scale down. You can imagine that when it's really busy and there's a lot of demand for capacity, there is a finite amount of it. And you figure out how do I sell that finite amount for in the best way possible. Now, I want to hear just a little bit more from Sebastian and also from Wendhy, because I'm sure it's very different in Indonesia. So maybe just a little bit from you guys in terms of if there's anything standout that's different from what we've heard from the 2 first already, or what resonates for you the most when you're thinking about the future of your business.
I think we look at it from a wholesale perspective. So obviously DT is big and every unit does some sort of future activities. From our perspective, it was really, we and particularly looking at the team I work with and also my background selling voice minutes and selling SMS, it was all about why we started it, making it consumable in the way it is consumed. So we had a lot of customers that wanted to come directly to us because they weren't happy with the quality they were getting from parties in between. So they wanted to come to the source of the traffic, and they didn't want that that SMPP legacy connection. They wanted to have an API. They wanted to do more with it. They might come in the future as well and want an interface maybe to directly plug into their LLM. So I think adapting to that, making the assets you have consumable in different ways, integrating also functionalities like Vcon or like other stuff that comes with that up-to-date technology stack. Also from my perspective, definitely transforming the skills in the organization to what these capabilities can do on the technical side. And on the business side is why we kind of started all of that platform activity. We started with a bit of a grassroots CPaaS project, and by now it's becoming a digital services platform that includes other services like mobile identity and network API as well. There is a API enablement platform with which you can integrate systems of our customers with our APIs to solve use cases, and on the customer side without having to build code and to deploy things. We have RBM in there, not just the interface, but also, of course, the management of the agent, the commercial relations, because again, it's one thing, what we heard earlier about Google having and running that platform, but the platform, the technical interface is not really the challenge. The challenge of RBM is actually commercial relations and who has these commercial relations. Aggregators have them at the moment, telcos among themselves didn't really have them, so we have a platform that incorporates all this. So I think when it comes to future telco and digitalization from the wholesale perspective, we built something that enables the organization to do business faster, to expose things in the way the customers want to consume it, and essentially also transform the skills of people working with it. Yeah, so it's kind of So in the end, the person selling voice doesn't need to learn selling APIs. They still sell voice, but they know we have it available the way the customer wants it. And I think that's kind of the key element. We were thinking too much how we can sell APIs. How can we put now CPaaS in? There is a CPaaS SMS cannibalizing a normal SMS. So I think we learned through that journey that it's really making it as consumable as possible with that platform. It's really what we're
and as sellable as possible. Like I get that it's really difficult to make sales team learn how to do something, sell something new. Whether it's there's a whole debate there about whether it's still a good idea to make them sell voice, but we'll come back to that. But Wendhy, obviously, is very different in Indonesia. You're in a multi-SIM market. Maybe sort of the drivers that you're going for, the customer engagements that you're going for, are a little bit different than what you've heard from your colleagues?
Yes, I think Indonesia is coming from the Southeast Asian market. And basically, the challenge part is that we as a state government enterprise, basically, in the past, we are usually focusing on the internal business. Yeah. Right? Well, we are actually becoming the gateway of the Indonesian market towards all the global market. Yeah. And we understand that the declining trend of the legacy business, voice, SMS is like also going down. We are not MNO. Telin is not MNO. Telin is a CSP, carrier service providers. And we are servicing our sisters company, which is Telkomsel is the MNO. And it's also another challenge that everything is kind of very quote-unquote traditional, basically, right? So that's why I think in the past 4 years, I was joining Telin to help them kind of evolve and transform, focusing on 3 things. The first one is people, the second one is process, and tools. Because if you want to say, okay, let's innovate, it's not instruction, innovation is coming from our heart. So that's why we start with the people, how they work. Agile usually being implemented in the IT or developers. We put Agile as a culture in our company. So that's why when my colleague asked me and my CEO asked me, hey, can you help to build the CPaaS platform within a short period of time? I said, yes, we can do because we have already done our processes right. So at that time, I think we proposed to have it 9 months, but the team made it in 3 months. So that's building our motivation that actually this transformation is really something that we need to do because, again, we cannot just focus on something which is very manual, very traditional, and we don't want to start to think what we can do for the customers, but we start to do it backward. So start to think what is customers want and what is the impact that we will build for them. Because at the end of the day, everything is going digital, and we want to aim to part of the ecosystem. We don't want to be part, a lone single fighter, but we have to be part of ecosystem. It's not a competition, but it's a competition. Yeah. That's why we're joining like standardization forum, like Amplify, the Metro Internet Forum, and then TM Forum. And this is helping us to learn a lot from different partners, different carriers, different MNOs, so that we can be part of it. And if we want to build something, it will be easily reconstruct and deconstruct because our service is modular. It's not kind of monolithic part, but we want to be part of the bigger ecosystem to give a better contribution to the world.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I think we've got a little bit of an idea of how you guys are looking towards the future. I want to maybe do a little bit of hands up between the four of you, get some quick views out. So I'm thinking, you guys are coming from different backgrounds, but obviously when we're thinking about network exposure, we're thinking about the CPaaS business, you're talking about collaboration across the industry, you're talking about different business models. Do you guys think that your direct business is going to grow faster, or your business via partners like the hyperscalers, like the aggregator platforms is going to grow faster? And appreciate you guys are in different parts of the business, but I'm curious to understand sort of a little bit in terms of where you see that growth coming from, how you guys see yourselves playing in the industry. I realize you may contest the question, but let's do some hands up, and then we'll get the debate on why it's a good or bad question, or you disagree. So people who think that their direct revenues are going to grow faster. All right, and people who think that their revenues via partners are going to grow faster. Wait, you've just answered both of those. Via partners. Okay, so we have like a slight weighting towards partners. So hands up, who wants to tackle that one first? Colm, you answered both, so tell us.
Well, look, power of partnership is a mantra and a motto that we would constantly use within BT. There's no organization out there. We operate in 183 countries around the world. We have network core infrastructure in 175 of those, and we partner for extended reach. We partner with the latest in satellite technology to get to oil rigs, to get to mining facilities. So you need to have a strong ecosystem of partnership to be able to provide that services to large-scale enterprise. On the flip side of it, you provide your services to your indirect market, so they, become your partner, and that allows them to evolve in their marketplace and their growth strategy. So it's a symbiotic relationship in terms of direct and indirect market. Where do we see the growth coming from? Well, obviously cloud is upon everybody, and the adaptation of cloud is very significant. But there's still a lot of companies and a lot of CIOs and a lot of CEOs out there, and they haven't taken on that journey. And there's a lot of markets that are still stagnant in the journey to the cloud, and due to whether it's political or whether it's investment opportunities. Businesses like all of us here in the telco world are there to support people on that cloud journey, and there's a distinct I think between both telco in terms of the fixed line world and the telco in the mobile operating world, and how those are converging as well, because even in organizations like BT we have EE, which is our mobile operating arm, and you have BT Network Services, which is the business and corporate side of things, and they're not fully integrated. So you need your internal partnerships to work correctly as well to be successful in that and provide those services in the global economy.
Yeah, good. So let's go. Ahmed, you're on the side of the partners.
I think
what's your view?
this goes with the previous statement. You can always get this width with you get that depth with your own direct sales, your own direct engagements. These are good for account executive engagements where you're selling multiple products. But if you're really specialized in one specific, back to the cheeseburger example, if you really want to go mass and sell cheeseburgers, sell APIs, sell a specific off-the-shelf product, then you need to leverage into a chain, and not only partners, the partners of the partners of the partners, and this is where you grow up in the value chain, and this is where you keep the creativity also available in the market. And this is how did we start it, right? 20, 30 years ago, we was just building towers, and now we're talking about digital twin and IoTs and etc. But guess what? It was us who allowed the supply chain to grow, and we believe we need to keep it there. Now, I will add another third option, because you talked about direct partner, but there is also the non-organic growth. Usually with each and every product cycle, there is usually the cycle of growth that reach up to a specific level of maturity. We in E&, have now a dedicated vertical called E& Capital. It's a venture capital that looks at companies, go buy them, flip them, take the money, continue, complement the products, and that's an area that telcos usually didn't know how to do it, right? So it's a very, very important area for the business line owners to think about also non-organic growth through partnership, venture capitals, JVs that we've done. Help AD, for example, is a good example of a security company that we just acquired, but we started with a JV with them. A Turkish company we just acquired recently in Turkey, Glasshouse for the co-location. Stars Play, Kareem, and that's also a very good area to think for the shareholders' benefit.
Great. So, look, we've got 2 minutes and 45 seconds left. I'm going to ask a super quick question, and then we'll open out to the audience if you guys have any. So, we've heard a lot of technologies today. I think some very exciting ones. VCon is obviously gathering some attention. The wider umbrella of generative AI, network exposure. I want to say, if you guys had to pick if you had to place a bet on one, which one do you think is going to be like the most important revenue driver for you? Which technology did you see today and you're like, that's the one we really cannot miss? Maybe we start with you, Wendhy.
Yeah, I think, as I mentioned before, I think we are not kind of the players who are already advanced, right?
Yeah.
We are starting the business in the CPaaS business, I think, in the past 2 years. And I think this is something that giving really quite significant promise to us in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And from here, I think something that important is to, this is the future. We have to start with the agentic AI first. Even though AI is also still, difficult to adapt in the early stage players like us. But I think agentic AI is something that will bring a lot of value to give a direct impact to us at the end of the day for the customers anyway, right?
Okay. So it's really embedding the agentic AI into your services. Sebastian?
I think it's a difficult question, but I would also say it's the value of a message, of a minute, not just connectivity, but there is more to it, and us being able to participate, us assuming the role we have historically as telco and making more out of that role by participating, not by relying only on third parties, but also by participating ourselves in that, whether it's through AI, whether it's through VCon, or whether it's through understanding and running and building APIs, MCP, and so on. So I think all of that is adding to the mix of us participating into creating value of connectivity of the channels we offer beyond the channel themselves.
Okay, yeah, so it's not the technology, it's more the fact that you are involved in the creation.
Yes, we're involved, and that's also why I raised my hand with the directs. For me, the partners are a given. We have that ecosystem. As a wholesaler specifically, we are in that. By having that technology ourselves, we can serve customers coming to us and participate ourselves in that ecosystem on a higher level. Right.
Good. Colm?
Go back to the earlier part of the moment. The word up there was called digitization. If we look at all the technology we've talked about today, if we can't orchestrate it and we can't bring it together from a customer service and a customer improvement, it's how fast can I get bandwidth on demand? How fast can I spin up an API to be able to order omni-channel capability? If we can't digitalize that and make it consumable, it doesn't simplify the customer journey, whether it's in a direct or indirect market. So for me, digitization, making that, ops capability for both internal teams to service or also customers to service. Our vision is a single pane of glass dashboard for customers to go in and order what they want.
Yeah.
So it's low, it's low touch, high end capability in a digital world.
All right. Ahmed?
I think we're running out of time, but
Yeah.
I promise that it will worth it. You ask the questions and you know the answer.
Yeah.
So I would not say AI. I'll go back to the analogy of Charles when he talked about the evolution of this ICT business in general, right? 40, 50 years ago, we started with hardware, so we started to give quantity. We moved to software, then the consumption came, and we said, you know what? There is usage. Then the business model has been shifted into use cases with adoption. And I think with AI right now, some way, somehow, we are trying to misuse the technology by talking about technology, without really understanding the actual final outcome that the consumer will have. And for us, and I'll give a tip also to my colleague here, we've initiated an internal project called Moments. And these are specific moments that will happen through the whole supply chain of consumer, from awareness until loyalty. With each and every moment that consumer or that internal user as an agent or a customer will go through, need to learn how to customize and proactively manage the interaction of this consumer with the brand. And that's obvious with all of us today, where someone will go into a brand, a mobile app, try to go and browse in terms of their cart or products, and will start to send the recommendations and etc. But we are not yet there building the right moments for the consumers, and I think this is where we can apply the AI eventually.
Great. Excellent. Well, that took a little bit longer than I thought, so you're going to have to find the individuals for your questions for that. I'm really sorry. But it sounds to me like most of it is how you sell is really the big focus in the next future. So big round of applause for the panel. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Amy. It was great. It was great. Love the panel. Love the energy. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll find you afterwards and ask you a lot more questions.